Hi, this is Dan Smith, and I'm your host today for this episode of Einstein's Theory of Taxability. Today I'm going to be talking to small business owners, either sole proprietorships or perhaps small S corporations or LLCs who operate a business and who have found themselves, unfortunately, in the unenviable position of having received an IRS audit notice. So the first question that comes up when a business receives an audit notice probably is who should handle this problem? Should I, the owner of the business, take care of it myself? Should I have my CPA who prepared my return handle the audit? Should I find a tax attorney or an attorney, business attorney who either I work with or I can find to handle this audit for me, or should I find someone else to take care of it? Now, generally, anyone who is an authorized practitioner before the Internal Revenue Service, which would include attorneys, CPAs, and enrolled agents, can handle an IRS audit for you. The other alternative is to handle it yourself. But I would say when you first get your audit notice as a small business owner, it behooves you very much to not handle the matter yourself for a number of reasons. One is that you should look to a professional who has some experience and skill and understanding of procedure in order to handle an IRS audit for you. Second, it will take you out of the loop to some extent so that rather than you're having to talk directly to the IRS and to the revenue agent in this case, you can have your authorized representative handle the communications. And it's just a much better way of handling things. So I'd say the first choice would be, do I handle this myself or do I get a professional to handle it? In almost all cases, if not all cases, you should get a professional to handle the IRS audit for you. So the question then becomes, who should I get to perform to represent my company in this IRS audit? Well, it may be that it's a very simple, straightforward question that has arisen because of some issue on the tax return that's easily resolved, and you have basically no fear that your company have done anything wrong on filing your tax return. You don't have unreported income. You haven't taken deductions that you weren't entitled to. It's just simply perhaps a mathematical issue or some question that's arisen because of some particular matter on your tax return. In that case, it might make sense for you to just have your CPA who handled the preparation of the return handle the audit for you. In a lot of cases, audits are done by mail. They're correspondence audits, and so it may be as simple as just responding to a question that has come through a correspondence audit, and just having your CPA handle that by just responding directly to the IRS based on their question. In other cases, it may be that there's some concern on your part that there may be some issues lurking in your tax return that could cause a problem for you and your business. Perhaps you have some concern that there may be some issues that would get the Internal Revenue Service's interest piqued. For example, maybe you took some deductions that you were just not so sure that you should have taken, or maybe you inflated some numbers. You will know if you perhaps have done something that you have some concern about, either on the income side, not reporting all of your income, or on the deduction or credit side where you may have taken some deductions or credits in amounts that you may feel like you might not be entitled to. And so you may have some real heartburn about the start of this IRS audit. If that's the case, then it's almost certain that rather than having your CPA who prepared the return, you should look to having an attorney handle the audit for you. The reason being is this. There are a number of reasons, but the main reason is this. There is a very sacrosanct attorney-client privilege in the United States, so that anything you tell your attorney in the context of that attorney's preparing and representation of you and providing you with legal representation, anything you disclose to that attorney in confidence is confidential, and the attorney cannot be forced to, and in fact cannot legally disclose what you have told him or her during that confidential communication. With respect to a CPA, on the other hand, there is a limited privilege for communications you have with your CPA, which is set forth in Section 7525 of the Internal Revenue Code, and it came into the law back in 1998, so it's been around for a while, but there is a limited exception or a limited privilege for CPAs and for other tax professionals who are not attorneys, but that privilege is limited in the sense that it does not apply in the context of criminal matters. And so if there's a concern that this audit that has just commenced might have some criminal exposure for you or your business, you don't want to have your CPA handling the audit and making disclosures to that CPA, because the Internal Revenue Service can actually force the accountant, the CPA, to disclose those communications if it's in the context of a criminal proceeding. And so the limited privilege is limited only to civil matters. So if there's a potential for a criminal case of fraud to be made against you or your business, you definitely don't want your CPA to be handling your IRS audit. Now, does that mean that you cannot have some accounting help or CPA help during the course of your audit? It does not. In fact, it's very likely that your attorney, who would be this point person and the one handling your IRS audit, may want to engage the services of a CPA to provide forensic accounting and other help to you and to him or her during the IRS audit. There is a procedure for doing that will protect the communications that that CPA obtains during the course of the audit from being disclosed to the IRS. It's based on a case that went back to 1961 called Covell, and there is a procedure whereby your attorney would enter into an agreement with an independent CPA called a Covell agreement, where the CPA would actually work for the attorney and would provide forensic accounting service to you and to him or her during the course of the audit. So you don't want to use the CPA who prepared your return in a Covell type of situation. You would want to have a new accountant, a new CPA who had no prior working relationship with you as the taxpayer to provide the accounting services during the course of the audit, and the attorney would engage the services directly of that accountant under a Covell agreement. In fact, it would be best served, and your attorney should know how to handle this, in the agreement between the attorney and the accountant should provide generally that invoices for the accounting services would be rendered to the attorney. The attorney should pay those bills to the accountant. Obviously, those charges are going to get passed on to you as the taxpayer, but the arrangement should be between the attorney and the accountant, so that the accountant is providing basically working services to the attorney in the attorney's scope of handling the audit, and so that the privilege that the attorney enjoys with the attorney-client privilege would cover the accounting services and accounting information that the accountant works on and becomes aware of. It would be covered by the attorney-client privilege because the accountant would be working for the attorney and would be covered under that umbrella of attorney-client privilege. So that's a Covell arrangement or a Covell agreement. But in short, if you do receive an IRS audit for you or your business, and you feel like it's not a problem, it's just a simple question that was maybe something that needs to be clarified on the return. You're not concerned about any unreported income, any overstated deductions or credits, and it's just very simple, the kind of thing that your tax preparer, your CPA who prepared your return can respond to the IRS. In many cases, that may be a prudent, reasonable way to go. If, on the other hand, you feel like there could be some issues, some exposure for you or your company that might arise during the course of the audit, and you need to protect all communications that you would have with your representative during the audit, then in those cases you're probably going to want to engage the services of an attorney so that the communications between the company and the representative during the audit are going to be protected by that attorney-client privilege. And then the attorney can enter into a co-vel agreement with a forensic CPA to basically provide accounting help and support to you and to him during the course of the examination or the IRS audit. That's in short, in very short terms, the difference between having an attorney handle an IRS audit for you and someone other than an attorney, such as a CPA. In some cases, it may make sense to have a non-attorney handle it for you, but in many cases, if in doubt, you're probably going to be better off to have an attorney handle the audit, just because you do have that attorney-client privilege that you don't have to the same level and the same extent with other tax professionals. So anyway, that's it for today on Einstein's theory of taxability. I hope this helps, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.